This segment of Delmarva Life is brought to you by Peninsula Home Care.
Well, how many times have you heard it? 8 to 10 glasses of water a day, or about 4 of these, 4 water bottles. Well, it sounds simple, but the truth is, many of us just don't do it.
And not only that, even if you do get all the water that your body needs on a regular basis, there are other things that may be dehydrating you. Both things you have control over, and some things you don't.
At least 6 cups of water.
Ooh, not a lot. Probably like 4 glasses or less.
The average adult naturally loses 10 cups of water every day. So staying hydrated with at least 90 ounces is critical. In just 30 minutes, exercising in hot, humid weather can make you seriously dehydrated. You should drink 5 to 10 ounces of water every 20 minutes to stay cool. Any prescription meds, especially for high blood pressure, can sap your body of water. Good news for coffee fans, the water content in coffee is so high, it's not dehydrating. But alcohol is the #1 dehydrator. You know how you drop a few pounds of water weight on some diets, leaving you dehydrated? Eating can actually help. An apple is 84% water and broccoli is 91%. But remember, you only get 20% of the water you need from the food that you eat. And our modern day enemy, stress, is a sneaky dehydrator. It produces a hormone that can throw your fluid level out of whack. So remember, take a deep breath and another glass of water.
Now, when it comes to kids, it is so important to make sure that they're drinking plenty of water, especially if they're outside running around. Without it, these temperatures can be downright dangerous, and get this, the amount they need actually varies between genders. For young kids, both boys and girls, it's about the same. Between all the ages of 4 and 8, they should have about 1 liter each day. Girls ages 9 to 13 should drink between 1.3 and 1.5 liters each day, while boys ages 9 to 13 need a little bit more at a recommended amount of 1.5 liters to 1.7 liters every day.
And Jimmy, that's not the only age group that needs to be on the lookout. Honestly, all of us need to be careful, but there are certain people who don't do as well in the hot temps, and it's important to stay alert. So joining us today to tell us more is Nancy Bagwell, Maryland Branch Director with Peninsula Home Care. Nancy, thanks for joining us this afternoon. We're talking about heat-related illnesses, and there are a couple. What are they?
There are things such as heat rash. There's heat cramps. Then there's the more serious of heat exhaustion or heat stroke.
Okay.
And it's not just little kids or the elderly. All of us need to keep a watch out for this, don't we?
Absolutely. And some of the people who are more at risk would be people who are babies or children under the age of 4,
right,
people who are overweight, people who work outside or exert themselves, and then people with mental illness or chronic illness and disease.
Okay. So you mentioned heat cramps. What are, I've never even heard of that. What are they, and how do you know if you have
them?
them?
A heat cramp is basically the tightening and hardening of your muscles, and they typically occur in your hands or feet or in the calves of your legs.
Okay.
Okay, so the muscles are hard, they're tense.
Right.
Okay.
You also said heat exhaustion.
Heat exhaustion, you may exhibit some of the symptoms such as nausea, fatigue, weakness. You would also have some dizziness, and you would have some exhaustion. You may have an excessive thirst.
Right.
And you could also have things such as excessive heartbeat.
Okay.
Or a slowed heartbeat, and excessive sweating with your body coming back and feeling cold or clammy after the excessive sweating.
So this is pretty serious, heat exhaustion.
It is. You need to get immediate medical attention when you have heat exhaustion.
Okay, even more serious, however, heat stroke. Tell us about that.
Well, absolutely, because a heat stroke may have no signs or symptoms in the beginning, or you may have some of the same symptoms we've already talked about, such as nausea, vomiting, headache, those sorts of things.
Right.
But you could also have things such as hot flushed skin. You could have increased body temperature, 104 to 106 degrees. You could have decreased urinization or blood in your urine and stool, or even actually faint or have convulsions.
Okay, so let me ask you this. It's the end of August. Why are we talking about this now?
Well, because you wake up on a nice breezy day and you think, oh, summer's over, everything's fine. What you don't realize is that depending on your activity or some of the medications that you take, summer's still here. And so we can still have some increased temperatures, and you still need to be aware.
Yeah, so protection is key. So what do we need to do to protect ourselves?
So first and foremost, make sure you're hydrated.
Yeah.
Obviously, water is best for the body. Some of the sports drinks, though, do provide some of the nutrition back for you. Then you want to make sure that you speak with your physician about any medications you're taking and how those medications, combined with activity or heat, can infect you. You want to make sure that if you have a senior, that there's some daily communication going on. You can remind them of some of the signs and symptoms we just spoke about and how they know how to get help. Finally, you want to make sure that your house has a cooling system, fans, air conditioning, and if you don't have access to those or there's a power outage, you're aware of the cooling units that are available here on the Delmarva.
Where to go, yeah.
Absolutely, and how to get help.
Okay.
Now, we mentioned earlier that coffee can be beneficial because of the water content.
However, caffeine actually increases dehydration. So you want to make sure that you have water or some sort of sports drink and stay away from alcohol or caffeinated beverages.
Or just have decaf coffee.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Nancy, thank you
Nice to see
so
you.
much. And
Thanks.
if you'd like to learn more about heat-related illnesses and how to protect yourself and your family, just visit our website, WVOC.com. Click on our picture at the top of the page. When it's unbearably hot, it's certainly nice to take a dip in the ocean, but where are you parking once you get there? Here's an idea. Why don't you just go ahead and drive right up to the water? In places like Assateague Island, this is not only possible, it's also quite common. Coming up, we'll run down a list of things you should know before you take your car off-road.
Plus, gardening doesn't have to take everything out of you in the heat. There's an easy way to garden in the shade, as long as you know what to plant and how to take care of it. Gardening expert Jenny Rosenkrantz stops by later to show us. Delmarva Live. We'll be right back.